Each of the following interviews were pre-recorded, and I apologize for any choppiness in the sound. The opinions of the interviewees are not necessarily my own. Howdy folks, this is Guy, and welcome to my first podcast episode, What It Means to Be an Animator. With me are 3 other animators who took some time out of their busy schedule just to share their experiences with you. For the first animator, I have Vinnie Veritas. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, well, my name is Alejandro. You can call me Vinnie Veritas because that's my nickname for my internet persona. I'm from Mexico, and I'm 33 years old, and I've been animating for like forever, it feels now. Well, yeah, that's me.
Cool. Let's see. So you started in what, the early 2000s with the animations?
Yeah, early 2000, like 2003, I think. 2000. Yeah. It must be 2003 because I was 19 years old.
Oh, nice.
And I started with Days After Those Days. That was my first public animation because I did some other stuff too, but they were pretty amateur, I think. Yeah, it was most experimenting stuff. But yeah, the first thing I did was with Flash. That's where I gave it a go to publicly place my animation, I think, on DeviantArt. That was my first one. Because I did a lot of stuff before, but it wasn't on the internet. And I didn't have the tools to do it.
Yeah. So it was, and you eventually created your own website, which is still going.
Yeah. Yeah, to this date.
Yeah, cool.
It has grown up.
Yeah. I'll throw a link to it in the description when this video goes up.
All right. Nice.
Is there anybody that you particularly were inspired by for animating, or did you just decide to start?
For animating? You know what? No. When I was young, I used to draw in the little things, that like the Post-it stacks.
Mm-hmm.
I used to draw on them.
Do like a flip book?
And of course on the books.
You do like a flip book?
Books. Yeah, but the school ones.
Yeah.
It wasn't a flip book. But I did a lot of stuff back in the day like that until I got my hands on a scanner. And I actually did some experimenting with simple paper without a light box. And I just did drawings, and I scanned them one by one and did it. I think it was with the Paint Shop Pro animating tool. It was a GIF tool. So it was first a GIF that I did animated. You know what? I think it's somewhere on the internet. I don't know where because I lost it. I lost the link some time ago, but it must be there, around there. It's pretty old, man.
There we go. As a challenge to anybody who watches this, try and find the old lost GIF animations.
It was. It's not a GIF, but it was made with a GIF tool because it's actually like 2 minutes long. It's got a soundtrack too. It's from Rancid, the Maxwell Murder song. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Joining me as the second animator is Rebaka-Chan, also known as Becca or Rebecca.
I go by whatever, to be honest.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Hi.
You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
I'm Rebaka-Chan. That's my channel. You can call me whatever. I really don't care. I'm from the site I'm mostly on is YouTube. I'm a YouTube person. I'm that's basically all I'm known for. Aside from being part of fandoms beforehand, but that's really not exciting.
Oh my, the dark past, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't label it as dark, just more childly. Is that a word? Childly?
That's a word enough.
Close enough. It's fine.
All right. Let's see. You've done a lot of videos. Would you say you have a favorite one that you've worked on?
A favorite? The pets video was really fun because I got to call my mom and say, ask her about my pets. And I really liked annoying customers working on it at the time because I got the chance to work with James and Alex for the first time, and that was really fun.
Yeah, I bet it was.
At the time, it blew my mind, so I was super excited about it.
Cool. Would you say there's anybody who kind of admire or inspired you in your animations?
I'd say James, as in The Odd Ones Out, definitely, because he made animation seem obtainable to someone like myself. Because I was an artist before, and I knew how to draw, but I didn't know how to make them move. And he did this mega tutorial, and I'm like, wow, I can do that. So I tried doing it. So that was an inspiration. I admire him for that.
Yeah, I could totally understand. Definitely seeing his stuff, it was like, wow, this is something I could do.
Right. It looks professional enough to be a really good video, but at the same time, it seems obtainable for the everyday average Joe.
Mm-hmm. So for my third animator, I have Patrick Smith here with me. Would you introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Patrick Smith. I'm an animator. I'm based here out in New York. And let me see. Just a little background on me. I've been animating since the mid '90s. My first job was my first ever project was in MTV Networks used to do these wonderful 10-second ID spots. I don't know if you remember these. Do you remember these?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah. And they used to hire independent animators, And I had just gotten out of college, and I did this kind of a trippy piece of animation, and a friend of mine told me I should put an M logo at the end of it and send it to MTV. So that's what I did. I got the address out of the phone book, MTV Networks, and I sent a VHS tape of a pencil test. And to my shock, I got a call back, and they wanted to produce it. So the first
That's pretty cool.
animation I ever did, yeah, it was nice. It was a nice little 10-second piece, nice budget, and it brought me to New York. And that little 10-second piece, it won a few awards at some film festivals, and it kind of opened up my career. And my first official job was drawing Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
That was when New York was there weren't many animators in New York, and there was a lot of jobs. So we had a good time there. So I drew Beavis and Butthead for a while, and then I kind of bounced around the studios in New York. Disney had just opened up a studio there to produce a television show. So I worked there for a while, and then Nickelodeon was there for a while. Just kind of bouncing around learning because, I didn't learn this stuff in college.
Yeah.
And then, so that's my background is television animation. And then what happened, around the late 90s is I got into commercials, and I was able to open up my own studio for a little while, around 2001, based on a client I had, I don't know if you remember the Zoloft character, this little friendly little dot that would bounce around and talk about depression. Anyway, that campaign lasted a few years, and I basically supported my studio on that, all the while making these little independent short films, which I first started in 2001, and I do to this day.
All right. Yeah, I've seen a few of them. They're really cool animation. They seem to go pretty deep with the subject matter.
Well,
I don't know. I felt like they did.
Because you can, there's no client really, so you can just tell the story that you want to tell.
And why don't we jump into a few of the questions? So we're trying to give an idea of what it's like to work as an animator. So just some questions about your experiences. Now, with your style of animation, about how long does it take to produce?
Well, I have a few ranges of styles that I pretty much use depending on schedule. If I have to do something quicker, I have one style. If I have a lot more time, I have another style. Like if you take one of my short films, like say Puppet, where this kid is beating himself up with a hand puppet.
So I could have a link to that in the description. So.
Oh, great. That took a long time. It was drawn on paper. It was, you got to scan all the drawings and it's pretty fully animated. And so that took, I think that film took over a year to make.
Wow.
To be honest, I didn't work on it for a year straight. It probably took about maybe 4 or 5 months to actually animate.
Yeah.
But that takes a long time. Now, if you go to a style like I did for the PBS show, for the Blank on Blank interview series, I did those 4-minute episodes in a matter of days, about a week actually, for the later episodes. The early episodes I literally did in one day. So there's a range there of how long it takes to draw. But animation is it's a tedious medium. You got to. Well, the way I do it, I draw everything. I don't really use the computer to move anything.
Yeah.
I like to draw, so I draw. If they go into new pose, I draw the new pose. I don't use cutout. I don't use
So you're doing totally frame by frame, not using automatic tweening or anything like that.
No, I don't. If I do use the computer to do anything, it would be something graphic in the background or something like that. But the characters, no. If the character moves, I draw a new pose.
You see, my style is usually pretty easy to draw. Like people call them knife faces. They got a knife on the face, and it's pretty easy to draw a person on sideways looking like a knife face. I know it's pretty simple. I also don't use shadows or two-tone drawings because, well, it's boring. You don't have to animate that. So I don't do it. It's a lot of work. I suck at it and I don't like it, so I just focus on the animation. And so that part is pretty easy to do with my style. I can work. I'm working in an animation right now. I can tell you, I've been working in 2 months now, and it's close to finish. And it's 3 minutes and 25 seconds, and it's pretty packed.
Oh man!
It has a lot of scenes, of hard frame by frame scenes, and I know it's really easy with my style. If you like to say my style.
Everybody has their own style.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty cool.
Characters, they don't have color, so that's another easy way of doing things. I'm experimenting with some stuff, so.
Yeah, whenever I watch Rush 2, I think, wow, how long did that one take to make?
That took me like a month.
Really?
That info is on my website. If you watch the animation, it says when it got released and how much time I took to make it. So actually,
Nice.
That Rush 2, I think it was a month and a half. It's not that much.
It must have been a pretty busy month and a half.
Of course, if I say 1 month and a half, that means I'm working on it every day, 6-7 hours on the animation.
Yeah,
it's pretty intense. But I want to finish it, so I I just don't rush it. Sometimes I do, but
You don't rush it
work on it
for rush too.
for rush too.
Sorry, I had to go there.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's actually pretty easy to do it in my style. You say so. Yeah, I usually don't draw. The clothes.
Mhm.
They have some of those lines and folds. I usually don't focus on them because those are hard to animate. But I know how to do them. I know how to draw them. Just avoid them because they are hard to animate. They made every scene more difficult to animate. This new animation, I'm kind of doing some folding. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It looks cool, but it takes a long time. And sometimes I think it's not even worth it. But okay, just to prove myself I can do it. So I'm actually doing it to this new animation.
One of my videos, I generally throw this stat out each time somebody asks, but it varies video to video and what I'm specifically doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say between 50 and 70 hours per video. But that's a rough estimate. I've never actually timed it. But that's what I'll say. And I don't do super long videos. That's important to keep in mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, with animation, you can't expect too long unless you're really in it for the long haul.
James and Jaden, they do really long videos, and I'm like, you're torturing yourself. Why do you do this?
Now, there's a lot of new animators, and I mean, I would say you're somewhat new, but not really new. But
newish.
Newish. I mean, you've definitely grown quite exponentially over the past several months.
Yeah. So back in November of 2016, I was at 300 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm at 50,000 as of recording this. So that's exciting. I grow really fast.
There are a lot of real new people out there, and I know they're always looking for tips and questioning other animators. What should I do for this? What do you think I should get? I feel like a lot of animators believe that the first thing to get is a tablet. Do you agree with that, or have any other opinions?
Yes, but for one very specific reason. Mm-hmm. To avoid getting carpal tunnel. Because it's possible to make good stuff with a mouse. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's really bad for your hand.
Yeah.
And I suggest getting a tablet above all else, more because I care about health reasons than for art reasons.
Yeah, that's a good reason. I wouldn't have even thought about that.
That's my reasoning behind it. Please don't hurt yourself.
Remember, animators, don't hurt yourself while animating.
Well, I did work with the tools I have in mind. I did my that's GIF animation. I had only paper and a pencil, and I scanned the pages and I just threw them in the program. I mean, it's easier. I give you that, but it's not the first thing. I mean, you gotta know if you're gonna enjoy animating first. So, I mean, you got a lot of tools now that we didn't have. Now you can draw stuff with a mouse and move it around with the lines like an Illustrator thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes works easier. I mean, I did animations by drawing by mouse. I mean, that was my tool for 2 or 3 years until I get myself a tablet. So, I mean, if you can afford it, go for it. But it's not essential. You can experiment stuff with your mouse or some other tools. It's easier now, more than ever.
So what did you say for you is the most difficult thing about animating?
What's my most difficult thing? You know, when you think about the scene you want to do, and you actually don't know how to represent it, like you see it clearly in your mind, but placing it on this white square is pretty difficult. I mean, just the first thing you like, how you gonna solve this? Once you have the basic sketch, like here's gonna be a car, here's gonna be a dude, and here's gonna be some other stuff, the background. Once you have that, it's pretty downhill from that. From there, it's pretty easy.
And it's just
the hardest thing is just placing how's it gonna look.
Yeah, getting
that's the hardest
concept from your mind to the page.
To the paint, yeah. Once you get to the page, it you just have to move it. Like basically, just have to.
Then you just have to move it.
Yeah. That process is actually pretty easier than placing. I mean, because I have been struggling with a scene like 2 days in a row, and I can't come to how I want. I see it in my mind, but I can place it on paper. So I just keep going on the other stuff. For the animation, I just can work with the same. I can think of that's the hardest part of the animation. I think the keyframing and whatever you call it, that's easy.
I think most animators I know who have been doing it for a long time understand that it's the execution that is hard. The idea that thinking of the idea, doing a storyboard. It's all kind of fun because there's no real pressure yet. When you actually sit down and start moving the character, that's when it gets difficult, and it's the least enjoyable part for me. Some animators say they love animating. I don't know if I really like animating. I like the result of animation, but I find it very tedious and difficult when you're actually drawing the character. Like, for example, if like actually right now I'm drawing a character just a basic character walking across the screen and then turning toward the camera and talking. The mechanics behind just doing something simple like that are so annoying. Sometimes the reason why some of my films are so weird is weird stuff is actually easier. Morphing, trippy stuff that you don't see every day is easy to animate because people don't see it every day. Everyone knows what a guy or girl walking looks like. Everyone knows. So if you mess it up even the slightest bit, people are going to be like, what's that? That's not a person walking. Whereas no one's ever seen someone crawl out of someone else's mouth. Therefore, a lot of liberties. When you draw a character crawling out of someone's mouth, it's like, who knows how that would happen? Yeah. So I find that a lot easier.
You seem to have come up with a few ways to do that.
Poses, honestly.
Really?
I struggle coming up with poses and like ways to make them seem dynamic and like how to make them flow into each other. So like making these poses seem anatomically correct, even though my character isn't quite anatomical. Like the head's larger than it would be on a normal human.
Yeah.
Not by a lot, but like it's still larger. But like just making everything
your head's
look
not
good.
Not awkwardly big.
Yeah, it's not awkwardly big. It's big enough to like seem cartoony, but not like so big. It's you would think the character would like fall over.
Yeah, I mean, you're not just a giant head on a stick figure body like me. That's actually why I did the stick figure body. I'm like, it's going to be really easy to do poses. And I'm trying to do poses. I'm like, this is still difficult.
Oh, yeah. I mean, poses are hard regardless. A lot of times what I'll do is if I'm having trouble thinking of a pose, I have like this 3D modeling program where I'll just like it has a model pre-built. You just like move the parts around. I like use that to try to figure out how I want to pose things. I'll just play with that for a while.
Nice. Oh, that's pretty handy, actually.
Yeah, I found it when I was trying to figure out poses like for just like regular drawing, and it's come in very handy.
What would you say is your favorite part? Not necessarily the easiest, but what you love the most about the process or result or any of that?
Releasing the video is always a great feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, finally, I'm done with my 70 hours of work.
Accomplish, get.
Basically. But like, I think as far as like making the video itself, facial expressions are really fun. Mm-hmm. So like I changed the way I did eyes recently because like I was disappointed with the way like facial expressions work. So like the eyes I have now are super expressive and you can do all sorts of fun stuff with them. That's why I changed it.
Yeah. I remember the other Rebaka Param.
Oh yeah.
Is that how you say it? Param?
Param, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember her in her video about why she doesn't have a mouth on her character, obviously. She has a mouth in real life. But, just focusing on expressions and poses and, I thought that was really cool. So, yeah, you just made me think about that.
I disagree with her a teeny tiny bit because I think the mouth can like make an expression seem so much more dynamic, even if you're not like saying any, like moving it. Yeah. Like I get not having lip syncing because like if you want to like express something with the mouth shape, sometimes it's hard to do that with lip sync. But like making someone seem like scared that have like a little bit of a smaller wiggly mouth or something, as opposed to just like a normal straight mouth, and I think that's really important to know.
Yeah. Yeah, I have, I think, 25 mouths I drew for my character to select from.
I think I draw mine fresh every time, so I don't really have a set number.
That's dedication there.
I did that for a very specific reason.
Oh,
so
yeah?
I don't have a character rig set up right now. Mostly because I wanted to like get the process of improvement going way faster than it would be otherwise. Because like I got a lot of competition for the YouTube spotlight, and I want to be as good as I can. So like if I'm improving so much right now, and I finally get a style down that like is super working and it's like super clean, I'm gonna have that down, and it won't take me so long to get there. And so eventually, when I'm finally like really happy with it, I can make a rig and be happy.
That's actually really good reasoning. I hadn't thought about that exactly. Yeah, I'm just like, how do I get into this as quick as I can?
No, like my goal was to make the best stuff I can at the time I'm making it.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to hold myself back later.
My favorite, when you finish that scene and you actually have it on the animation program and you watch it and watch it again and watch it again, and you're like, how did I manage to do this? It looks so good. Like I can't believe it. And you're just watching it and watching it again, and you work a little on the animation and you go back again just to watch it, and it moves so perfectly, and it worked and you don't know how you do it. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, it's like magic. Animating. It's like your imagination coming true.
Yeah, and you have no idea how you did it.
I think the most rewarding part is when an idea comes together and you're sitting there watching it and it works. And I guess there's another rewarding part is when you're sitting. I just last weekend, my last film was at Animation Block Party in Brooklyn, and just when you witness the audience react to your film is a very rewarding moment. Animation is great because we don't have to, we're not like actors. We're not up on the screen. They're not looking at our face. So you can just kind of hide in the shadows and you can just, see if it worked, basically, see if your story worked, see if people understood it, and sometimes, of course that doesn't go very well, but other times when they laugh at the right place and they seem truly engaged with it, it's a very rewarding experience.
Yeah, I could imagine. I haven't done a whole lot myself, but with the one simple thing I put up there, every comment I get is like, "Oh, I'm glad you loved it."
Yeah.
So animation, it can be a pretty expressive art. Are you fairly level-headed during the last push on animation, or do you find yourself having sort of heightened emotions?
Oh, no, I'm level-headed the whole way. matter of fact, I don't think you could work if you're anything but level-headed. It's not, it's not a wildly expressive art form when it comes down to actually doing it. Mm-hmm. Perhaps the conception is expressive, when you first think about it, but the execution is very, you basically animators just, they're alone. I lock myself in my studio. I don't literally lock myself in my studio, but I sit in my phone and you stare at the drawing board or the tablet and you lose yourself. And then you look and you saw that the whole day went by, and that is a little depressing. But I'm very level-headed. I don't even listen to music. I'm completely engaged into what I'm doing, and it's
whole day going by. I myself and plenty of friends I have, they totally attest to that.
Yeah. I have a pretty good schedule where I wake up. We were just talking before you started recording. I wake up at 5 and I start at 6 and I work till noon and I check out at noon. So I only work 6 to noon every day. And I actually can't draw more than that. My hand starts hurting and I just can't think. And I just get too, I don't know. I can't go further than that. But what's great about my schedule is at noon I check out and I spend the rest of the day with my family. I, go to the beach or whatever. And then I'm, I go to bed early and I'm fresh the next 5 a.m. the next day. I watch the sunrise and I'm drawing again. And that seems to work for me. And I've known a few of my colleagues do the same thing.
Oh, awesome.
It depends. I set myself deadlines. I try to upload on like Fridays. Or something, and then I look at my YouTube analytics probably way too much, and my emotions really depend on those. I'm ashamed to admit it. So but if I don't reach my self-determined quota for views or subs for the day, I get really upset, and that makes me work harder. But I also get more paranoid about it and more freaked out. So that's kind of rough, but if everything's going fine, I'm like, it's fine. Everything's fine. I can finish this whenever.
And then later on.
So it really, really depends. I'm ashamed to admit how much I freak out about analytics and stuff.
I tried not to think about it too much, but then I'll be like, posted up that video. He got 3 views and... is this really what I want to do? But so I can understand that. It's one of those things. It kind of comes with the territory a little bit.
I mean, it matters more now than it used to. More because YouTube has become my job. It's my main source of income right now, which granted isn't a lot, but I need to continue it, and I need to get it growing so I can make this a full-time thing. That works. So I have to worry about it a lot for that reasoning.
It's goals. Got to keep them in mind.
Yeah.
Maybe not refresh the analytics every 5 seconds in mind, but
Social Blade kind of just does it for me.
Okay.
That updates all the time, and I just have the page open all the time.
Automatic paranoia agent there, right?
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't help, but at the same time,
it's info. It's info, right?
Yeah, it's crazy how much numbers can affect you.
When you don't have a how do you say that deadline? Yeah. When you have deadlines, you can work. You can put it on pause, go play some video games, and return to it. There's no pressure. It's pretty easy. I got my level-headed. But when you have a deadline, well, it's just make things difficult. And you kind of rush it. You rush things. Sometimes they turn bad. But, you can. There's a deadline. I actually don't like working with deadlines, so I work just on my stuff. But you also have if you don't work in your animation for a while and you only play video games, you start to feel guilty about it, and you go back to it. So yeah, that's another emotion that works.
Do you want to talk about the 5-year break? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding you.
Oh man, video games are ruining my life.
Believe me, I spent way too much time on Minecraft.
Yeah, we all been there.
When you were first creating your CCC animations and related animations, or non-CC related, as some of them were, did you see a lot of demand from people for your next animation? Like, when's your next animation coming out? What are you working on?
Yeah, I saw some interest. Yeah, I have a lot of followers, but they went like, dude, where's your next animation? And I just didn't know. I mean, the first thing, you're new to all that attention. So the first 2 animations, I was like, yeah, man, just hang on like a couple of months. Here, even have a teaser for my next animation and whatever. And I was just working for them. And I did actually, I did not enjoy that when people start asking, when's there going to be the next one? Because you just finished one, people are already asking about the next one. You're so burnt out, and you're like, oh my god, please let me just take a break.
Yeah, give me a break.
Yeah. That was the first couple of animations, 2 or 3, but eventually you grow a thick skin and you start to they do not bother you anymore. So it's like Half-Life 3, when it's done, when it's ready, you're gonna get it.
Half-Life 3, yeah.
Yeah. So eventually you start not caring at all of what other people say, and just work for you and just keep doing it for you. It's those things come with years of exposing your work to people. It hardens your skin.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of YouTube animators nowadays where at first they're reading these comments and they're like, oh my gosh, what are people saying? It's so many terrible comments. And then, 100,000 subscribers later, like, meh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Not an encouragement to say anything mean in YouTube comments. I'll say that. Support your animators, people.
Yeah. They eventually will stop caring about it.
Yeah.
All the demand is pretty much internal. I think the demand comes from just like when views dip and like people aren't watching what I'm putting out. But like, I think a lot of my fans actually like care a lot about me, and they're like, please don't kill yourself over working on videos. And I'm like, I have to.
Yeah.
So I would say I have a pretty caring fan base, but like, I also make sure to like keep them up to date on what's happening through like Twitter, or just like at the end card, or like give little updates. So like they know what's going on just as much. Well, probably not just as much, but like relatively as much as I do.
Yeah, those little every now and then things you see some animators do. I'm sorry, I don't have a new video out. I'm working on it, I swear.
I hold myself to my schedule pretty strictly. I hate to break it.
A few questions just about, say, some studio type of stuff. I know you've worked for some studios, right?
Yeah, early in my career, I jumped around the studios.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of newer, younger animators who are just breaking into it are going to be they're going to be looking at getting into a studio first. What are a few things people should expect when they go to work for a professional animation studio?
Well, I think, first of all, getting a job at a studio nowadays is a lot harder than it was when I was working. So you've obviously proven yourself in some capacity to be hired in the first place. Mm-hmm. I think that the studio, the greatest thing about it that I remember about the studios and that I miss is just the group dynamic. And your learning curve goes so quickly when you're sitting next to people that are incredible artists. I sat next to a storyboard artist by the name of Otis Brayboy, and he's still, to this day, he's one of my idols, and he taught me so much. Also, David Concepcion, another storyboard artist at Disney. Mm-hmm. These guys are just, the best in the business, and most of what I learned. Matter of fact, my first ever job at MTV, I was sitting next to Mike Baez, who, he animated so many classic cartoons that I grew up on. And there I was, I was 22, 23, sitting next to the master. And I remember, at the end of the day, he used to just sketch these horse animations, and I asked if I could in between them, and he showed me a lot of things about animation early on. And I was really bad. I was really untalented. I was never been talented. I just kind of worked really hard. So, and now I can kind of do it. But back then I was really thirsty to learn because, again, I didn't study this in college really. So, I had to kind of learn on the job. Yes. You can expect at a studio is learning a lot more than you ever did in college, and also learning a system. I think that's probably the most important thing that a studio will teach you is the production system that carries through the rest of your career. Even when I do an independent film, even if I'm the only one working on it, I have a certain production system that I picked up from working at the studios.
I imagine when you're in the studios, there are probably times when it got tough because you're trying to meet deadlines. What kind of gave you the inspiration or willpower to push through the tough times?
Well, I think that the environment itself helps you with deadlines. Like I remember I was directing an MTV show called Daria, and directing a show is it's all on paper. It's all. Back then, this is before everything was digital. We actually used to, have to fill out these lengthy exposure sheets. And it's pretty intimidating because you have hundreds and hundreds of pages of exposure sheets with all these lines, and each line is a frame of film, and you have to kind of direct action and everything. And I remember, having to get through hundreds of these pages within a certain amount of time. And I think the thing that got me through is knowing that, I was doing that. There was a layout department doing this. There's a storyboard department doing this. And we're all just cramming to get this all done on time and get the show out. And the environment itself makes it possible. It's when everyone's going that fast, you really do. You benefit off of everyone else's panic. And just the environment helps you get things done. I miss that dynamic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's when you're all alone, like I am now most of the time. It's a little harder to get down to work. Yeah.
yeah. I imagine it's probably pretty fun working with a lot of those other people. So.
Oh yeah. Well, and also, of course they become some of your best friends. And to this day, most of my best friends I got from those early days in New York.
So you've done work with a few studios, right?
Yeah.
A few. You can see running down the list in your mind.
Well, it's been 20, 25 years, so it's...
Yeah. Do you find that different studios have a lot in common with one another, or is each kind of a very unique workplace?
Well, in my experience, I don't know, some people may have had different experiences.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone, the organization of files and stuff is pretty similar. Maybe tiny little variations. Like I remember some studios would call, they define what a scene is differently from what a shot is to stuff like that. But, it's pretty much the Disney Studios pretty much standardized what everyone calls everything. They've always been, they're always pretty much decided how to organize stuff. I don't know about CG. I know nothing about CG, so I don't know anything 3D. I have no idea. So I'm sure you'd have to ask some of my computer colleagues about that. But as far as traditional stuff, Flash kind of completely redid the file system of your typical animated series. Before that, it was pretty standard. You're talking about, scenes and folders and, exposure sheets, and it was pretty standardized back then. Now, I don't know. I think I pretty much invented my own system for my digital file system, which I think is awesome. But I don't know. I haven't worked for a studio in so long. You might have to hit a studio artist up for that question.
Now, you haven't been in a studio for a while, but you've been around other animators and you've seen kind of the way things go over time. Do you feel like it's changed a lot over time? And do you think there's going to be a lot more change in the future?
It's changed. It's constantly changes. When I first started, this is the era of, Pocahontas and, all those big, Lion King had just been completed. And this was the era of 2D animation, and everyone was clamoring to get on board. Now, I'm one of the few 2D animators I know, definitely one of the few I know that actually draws every pose, which is sad. But that said, some of my closest colleagues are other independent filmmakers, like, people like Bill Plimpton and a lot of others based in New York, in Canada. And so it's changed a lot for the animation world. But for me, outside of the way I do things, I'm pretty much doing the exact same stuff I always wanted to do when I started. I set out to do drawn animation, and I set out to do my little films. And I used to want to do a feature, but now I don't want to anymore. I just want to stick to shorts. And it's to answer your question, it's changed a lot. But for me personally, it hasn't really. I'm a dinosaur. I wasn't a dinosaur when I started, but I'm a dinosaur now. And I didn't get into animation because something was popular or happening. I got into animation because I truly loved the medium. So that's never going to change. In 20 years from now, I'm still going to be doing my drawn animation. I'm not. That's not going to ever change.
When times got tough during production, like you're coming up to a deadline, or you're just having trouble mentally making it through a certain part, how did you manage to tough that out and get through it?
Well, actually, a lot of stuff, I used to smoke back there. I don't smoke that much. But, I got, how you call them, packs? Pack of cigarettes, or pads, I think. Anyway, I smoked like one a day. And,
one pack a day?
That's not a way of tough it out, but it certainly helped. It's not, it's a bad habit to do it.
Yeah, there you go. All you other animators out there, pick up smoking. No, I'm just kidding. Don't.
No, don't do it. It helped me. Yeah, of course it helped me. But it helped me. Video games helped me a lot.
Yeah.
But actually, I haven't had a hard time doing an animation. I have harder times doing comics and illustrations for other works, because those have hard deadlines, and animation is usually easier to manage for me. And I just work alone almost every animation I've done. It's just my work, so I haven't had this pressure of a deadline. Just the burning sensation of I'm gonna finish it now. That's my only motive, the revenge.
Yeah.
For the people who said I couldn't do it, that's what really motivates me.
Then you can just take it and shove it in their face and say you did it, right?
Yeah, in their faces, of course. Yeah, that's great moment.
That's true art there.
Yeah. My motivation, actually.
Yeah, my motivation is
cool.
shoving it in other people's faces and proving them wrong, right? That's great.
Proving them wrong, yeah. Like, you said I couldn't do it, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, what
that's
about
cool.
it now?
So you have done art and animation for money, for jobs, then commissions, or
I've done art, but for commissions, yeah, and animations. I usually did not. I did one that went pretty bad, and I still owe that money to another guy. But I'm finally facing the music, like they said. And I'm going to pay him back because I just can't. I doesn't know who I am, and it's eating me alive it's been eating me alive for 5 years or 4 or 5 years.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, it didn't work out. It was worse. It was misunderstood stuff. I had to work with some other animator. I lost that friend too. Yeah, it was a nasty situation. But I'm going to pay him back after all these years because it went south.
Hey, you hear that, bud?
That's the expression.
Vinny's a good guy. He'll pay you back.
Yeah, I can't. It's been eating me alive. I'm not that person. So
so it just wasn't really a thing for you. Just not your cup of tea.
After that, I just said, no, you know what? No more commissions, at least in the animation business. Yeah, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it like this for free, or I don't know, for the love of some experiment some people brought with me. I've actually done that. Some couple of animations with people that want to experiment some stuff, and I participated. Yeah, participated in that, but in the end, they didn't finish the animation, so I just did my part, and it never went out to the public. It was a shame. I've done a lot of stuff like that, just to work with some other people. Usually goes that way because you can, you say this word, you can push all these people to work. Eventually, some of them I'm gonna bail out on this, especially if there are too many.
Right. Oh yeah, I see some of these multi-animator projects. I think we abbreviate MAP. But yeah, that you see some of those, and it's like, holy cow! How did you get that many people to commit to that thing?
Yeah, but they usually go south very fast.
Yeah,
people start failing. No, it's a terrible idea.
It's tough, and if you can do it, all the more power to you. If you can actually get a group of people to pull through.
That's how do you say? That's pretty cool. But if you manage it, you will certainly won't manage it. I've seen it so many times. Oh my god! Yeah, it's like 10 years of seeing this business. It's pretty hard.
Yeah, little collaborations with maybe one or two other people. Probably a lot easier, especially if they're people you already know and you're just doing for fun.
For fun, and everybody's got like I don't know, 20-30 second part.
Yeah,
I mean that's even too much. But
30 seconds is still a lot to animate.
yeah, but I mean, like, what is your part in this experiment? Like, are you going to do just one part of the animation, or are you going to animate the whole thing, and the other people are going to like, I just did this character, so now animate it, and I'm the one who has to do all the work. So if I'm going to do that, I better do my own stuff. So I stopped doing that commission stuff a long time ago because of stuff like that.
I haven't been asked to do, well, I guess that's sort of not sure. I've been asked for collabs, but other than that, I really haven't been asked to like animate anything for them. but I have been asked for like just like regular art commissions because I do offer those.
Okay, yeah. So you do regular art commissions and, a little bit here or there for people who want drawings, I guess, right?
Right. So like I did commissions for a long time, even before I did YouTube. So the first video I have up, I think, is a Legolas and Tariel speed paint. And that was a commission from ages ago. So...
Oh, nice. Yeah, go ahead, advertise yourself. This is a good chance.
Yeah. Buy things from me so I'm not poor.
Hey, that's pretty convincing. Do you see yourself maybe in the future doing commission animation work? Or are you not really sure about that? Or
I'm not sure. It really just depends on like how good I can get. Because like I wouldn't really consider myself a professional by any means. I'm still really new to it all. Animating in general. And I can't like produce like super hardcore fluid stuff like some of the pros can. But like I'm someone who wants to get to that point in their ability. Not necessarily use it all the time, but like be able to do that. So like you'll see me like throwing in little bits of like super animated things in videos to like get better at it. But I don't know. It really just depends.
Oh man, the skill of some of these animators, the seasoned animators, is amazing.
Oh my gosh, there are so many like super talented people, and I'm just like, give me your skill, please.
So this is a little bit of a topic that I've heard some debate about. Now, as defined, animation is creating the illusion of movement. There are a lot of people creating videos in more of like a animatic, or you might call it slideshow style, single picture with narration or song in the background, and then you just change from one picture to the next. You know the idea, right? Now, in your opinion, with all due respect to the creators, would you call that animation? And would you consider the creator to be an animator?
So my videos for the most part are kind of slideshow style. Is that what you're referring to, like that type?
Yeah, you have a lot like that.
Okay, so I would say what we do is still animation. Hear me out. An animatic is part of the animation process, but an animatic is still also an animation because things are moving. It may not be moving at a certain frames per second, but there's no defined frames per second that you have to use.
Right.
So like if a person is moving their arm from one position to another and you see it happen, that's the illusion of movement. It doesn't mean it's done well, but it's still done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd still say it's animation.
Yeah, not you or whoever else totally fine, calling yourself an animator.
So like I don't think I've ever quite used the term animator to describe myself. I'd say I do more animatics in general, but like animator is used to describe me. So I'll just go like, yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've always kind of thought of it as, one of the key components to animation. You said, is animatics. And, if you go to any professional studio, you have people drawing keyframes, which are basically what a lot of, your and a lot of other YouTube animators, what your videos are.
It's a bunch of keyframes. It's just the extreme poses.
Yeah.
It's like the points at the very beginning and end and whatnot. And then there's people that do the in-between stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't like what people don't get is that like somebody has to do the in-betweens and somebody has to do the extremes. But would you say the person that just does the extremes isn't an animator? I would say no.
Yeah.
They are still an animator.
Yeah. There's a term for that. It's called motion graphics.
I know it's not animation. It's called motion graphics. I mean, they just use stills and tools like Puppeteer and stuff. I mean, like using twinning for everything. Yeah, with those tools, yeah, you can manage to pump out like 5-minute episodes every 2 weeks yeah, sure. But I mean,
maybe throw in some lip syncing with some things. That's not too terrible to do.
yeah, it's not too difficult. Yeah, it certainly has its own value.
Yeah.
But
I say lip syncing isn't too difficult, but that depends on how you go about it. Some people still draw frame by frame every single thing.
Every single word. No, I know. It's how it depends how you do it. But in the end, it's just, I don't know. It's pretty wide question if you ask me.
It's kind of a tough question.
People gonna say, yeah, of course that's animation. What are you talking about? Or people are gonna snub it out and say, no, that's not animation. You have to draw and do a storyboard, and I don't know. It's pretty. I mean,
at the very least, it's at least like keyframing, you know.
Yeah, but who am I to say what's not and what's animation and what's not? I mean, I certainly wouldn't do that. That's just my way of working. It's because I think it's lazy, and I just want to do more stuff. I mean, I know they're capable of doing more stuff, but it depends what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. If you want to accomplish 2 5-minute episodes every 2 weeks because people keep asking for more and more and more, yeah, well, go for it. Well, you can challenge yourself doing other stuff, harder stuff. So just to see if you can do it. I mean, that's my way. That certainly is my way of working.
Absolutely. You know, there's multiple styles that you can work with, and there, you know, if you're putting together something and the audience responds to it, that's difficult right there. Even if it's really, really limited style, I always commend people who finish something and show it. You know, that is difficult to do. Now, you know, I do a lot of this stuff. I don't call it slideshow animation, but I do very, very limited animation that I have to pump out in a week in order to make a YouTube posting deadline. You know, I still think it's animation. Just because I do it quickly doesn't mean it's not animation. I would love to do the multiple drawings, you know, and that it make it a fluid animation, but there's nothing wrong with limited animation. Some of the greatest animation in the world has been limited. You know, back in the day, the UPA style was incredibly limited for the time, and it was still very legit.
Well, getting to the end of it here, did you have any last things you wanted to say for anybody who might be an aspiring animator out there?
Well, I don't know. Just don't copy. That's my only thing. Don't copy. Don't copy scenes. Don't copy movements. You're not gonna get better copying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You just practice the scene or the movement you think you have in your mind. Try to work it as whatever tools you need. Like if you're a caveman and and it looks horrible in the end, just do it and do it again, and just focus on doing more, but don't copy. I mean, you can look at other stuff, you can take inspiration, but just don't copy. If someone else did it, just drop whatever you're doing and don't copy. Don't think you're gonna do it better or just gonna learn from it. It doesn't work that way.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. I mean, you can learn some things, by watching it, but in the end, you get the bad habit of looking at all kinds of stuff just for you to work. I mean, you in the end, you're using all these other people's work and references, which it's totally fine, but in the end it's harder to just advance looking at other people's work. And it's easier if you can just grab your pen and do your own stuff. It goes faster. It's pretty much rewards. because people are going to take your works as an example, and they're gonna copy it. You're not gonna like it. But yeah, it happens to most. It happens to everyone, and you're not gonna like it, but you're gonna see how you did the same, and you got stained. Is that the word? Stained or tainted?
Yeah.
With other people's style, or you get these bad habits of copying how other people make clothes and expressions and anatomy, if you like. I don't know. You get all these bad habits. Yeah, don't just do your own stuff. Don't copy it. And do it. And again and again and again. And don't be lazy. And if you want something to look good, don't take shortcuts.
Yeah.
Do this the twin thingy and the side face thingy, and all scenes use the same drawing. No, just come on, just do it all over again. It's not that difficult.
I have some general tips and tricks, I suppose. One, always write a script. Don't freeball it. 2, you don't have to use the worst stuff, but like you can get some stuff done with like relatively decent equipment. So like Alpaca, if you're familiar with that program, it's a free program and has like a GIF or GIF maker, however you say it, that you can use to animate. It's not you can't really do lip syncs with it because you can't hear anything, but you can make good movement with that. And so like if you want to try animation and you just want to give it a shot, you can totally use Alpaca's like GIF/GIF maker thing and just try it. Like you don't have to post it anywhere except just like watch it yourself, but just try it. And there's nothing wrong with trying it because like you'll know if you like it or not.
Yeah. Just if you want to try it, just sit down and do it. It's kind of what you got to do.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Insert Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. And I think the GIF thing is going to be forever an internet debate. It's just never going to end.
Yeah, that's why I say both, like in a public setting. Like I've gone back and forth on how I say it, like all the time, but I just don't care.
Yeah, it's kind of the animated picture version of him, her, they.
Yeah, I guess a little bit. I'd say it's like the format version of is it animation or not?
I'm always an advocate of making short films. I think that it hones your skills as a storyteller and an animator and a producer. It's animation is an interesting medium because it touches on so many different disciplines. You have to know about all these, even audio and all this together. And a short filmmaker understands every aspect of production. And I think if you're getting into it, that's a great place to start because you can, especially if you don't really know what you want to do specifically, you touch on so many things during the production of a short film that you're exposed to a lot of different aspects of animation. So I highly recommend making your own film. It's not as hard as it used to be with the tools today. It's also, it's also a lot easier to make, something that is poorly made, which of course I don't think you should do. But, I like existing audio. If you want to ease yourself into, making a short film, just find a clip of audio you want to animate and use that as a template. It's a great way to make a short film that a lot of people do. And it sets the stage for you. It acts as an outline, and it just makes the whole process a lot easier. That would be my advice. I don't know. Animation. If you don't love it, I highly doubt you'll be successful with it. It's not something you can just do as a job. Unless you're extremely talented, which is possible, I suppose. But if you don't love the medium, if you don't love drawing, especially for 2D animation, you'll end up just despising animation because it's too difficult. But but it's a great career. I've had some success with it, and I'm very thankful that I started this path as an animator. And I think probably the best thing about animation, and this isn't advice, it's just something to know, is that not many people do it. So if you are an animator, it's not like starting a rock band. This is there isn't a lot of people that are willing to do the work for animation. So when you do get into it, you realize that I think it's easier to succeed, because if you have the will to actually do the tedious art form, I think it's easier to succeed than other art form.
Thank you so much, Vinnie, Rebaka, and Patrick, for being a part of this project. Make sure to check out their links below in the description. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.